So hi everyone and welcome to today's Orchestrator meeting. Looking at the agenda, we have 4 topics. So first one is Chomika wanted to show a bit how we are testing the manager Rook module in the Rook CI, and then another topic that came up last week is about restarting OSDs and setting OSD flags, and then we have another topic that came up last week about storing private keys in YAML specs, and then we have zones and zone group creation in the orchestrator, and then we have local storage discussion. Okay, let's start with the first topic. Omega, do you just want to briefly describe how you are testing the Rook orchestrator module in the Rook CI? Because I think to the rest of the folks, that's super interesting to know, especially if there are possibilities to avoid duplications or speed up the coverage. I don't know.
Yeah, of course. Okay. Well, I have prepared a small presentation. Okay. Well, I think that Blaine, Travis probably will know more detail about the internal of the Rook testing framework. Okay. Because what I have done is just basically use the mechanisms that are implemented in the Rook project in order to create tests. Okay. So I think that it's very easy to follow, and let me check. Okay, so let's go. Basically, what I have done is just to create a new test for the Ceph Manager Orchestrator module, and I have used the same strategy that is used in other tests in the Rook environment, in the test CI environment. If you take a look to this direction, this URL, this is the explanation of the test framework. And basically, what provides is that you need to set up first a Kubernetes cluster using kubeadm, using Minikube, using KCLI, or another tool. Okay, and once you have a Kubernetes cluster running, you can execute the test, just basically executing the test, and this is going to run the test framework that is going to create a Ceph cluster, and is going to run your test, and after that is going to clean the environment. Okay, so but this is the basic working behavior. What are the tests? How the test is executed? There are a special folder for all the tests in the Rook project, and the test for the Rook Ceph Orchestrator is placed in this folder. This is the link. I can share after the meeting. I can share the link to the presentation, and it's just one file in this moment. And in this moment, in the integration system that is used in Rook is GitHub Actions, and it is implemented as a workflow that is run every time a modification in master is run. Okay, this is important because I think that one of the targets of the most important things of the integration test is to detect as soon as possible if we have break something, one modification. So to have a set of integration tests just directly inside the Rook project, and to be possible to detect this kind of problems as soon as possible is very important. Okay.
One clarification there. I think that job runs against Ceph master, right? But where it runs in Rook, it actually runs with PRs and not in our master branch, because we want it to just basically run where it's not going to be a blocking issue if something comes up, right? Since we're just running on the head of master, we run it so it's not blocking our own main.
Yes, but one question, Travis.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see the list of workflows that we have in the screen?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Okay, this is the different runs that we have of the Ceph Manager suite, if I'm not wrong. Okay,
mm-hmm.
So all these runs are started because there is a pull request against master that is launched. Okay. So my question is,
will run it.
Every PR is going to test, is going to run this kind of test, except if you explicitly say that this shouldn't be run.
That's right. Yeah, it'll always be run on PRs, but if the PR is marked as skip CI, it will just not run this. Like in that case, the top one we see, it was skipped because there was a skip CI flag. On the top PR.
That's it. But the important thing here is that we have something that is going to test the orchestrator functionality each time we have a modification in master.
Mm-hmm. Right. It'll just pick up the latest master build. Just want to be clear that we're not triggering this based on the Ceph master build, of course. It's just
yes. This is because what we are trying is is in the root project, okay? What we are worried in this part, I think that is the important thing, okay? That is that modifications that we are doing in the root operator is going to trigger any kind of problem with the orchestrator, okay? With the current state of the orchestrator. And this is going to help us to avoid the situation that we are suffering in this moment, that almost we have no functionality in the orchestrator because nobody has seen any kind of problem with that, because we didn't have any kind of integration test in order to test new modifications in the operator that are affecting the orchestrator. This is what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good.
Okay, I'm going to go with okay. So this is what we have discussed. Okay, about it's very important to have this kind of integration test. And if you want to execute it manually, you directly from the root folder you can issue this kind of command that is common to every kind of test and execute the test. The other thing important is if you take a look to the code in the integration test, it's very simple. And basically, what we are doing is just to be sure that when we have the cluster up and running, the Ceph cluster up and running in the Kubernetes environment, what we are doing is just to be sure that the root orchestrator module is enabled and is set as default. Okay. And a part of that is just to start to execute the different commands that we have in the orchestrator. In the Ceph Manager suite, there is a method that is called execute that is going to be very useful in this kind of test in order to just to call the different orchestrator commands. And after calling the orchestrator command that you want to test, you need to use the Kubernetes API or directly Ceph commands in order to check, to verify that the command that you have executed is working, okay, or the behavior that you are testing is the expected one. And I think that the current situation in this moment is that we have a very basic coverage, but this is because we have also a very basic functionality in the root orchestrator. Next steps that I think that we need to do what basically is to solve the management of OSDs, the creation of OSDs. I think that we should keep the functionality to create OSDs using the discovery daemon and directly creating the OSD, okay, in the more simple form. And part of that, there is an open discussion about the local storage operator and what we are going to do with that, okay? So I think that basically this is all. If there is any question, I will be happy to answer if I able to do that.
Thank you. What I'm wondering is, can we share the maintenance burden of maintaining the tests between Ceph tautology and Rook? I mean, because we want to test the very same thing, right? We want to test if device ls works. We want to test if ls works. We want to test if OSD creation works. We want to test if I don't know. And we are going to end up with a very same test suite just implemented one time in Go in the Rook project and another time in Python in the tautology integration. And I was wondering if we can, if there is a way to only write it once. I don't know.
I don't know. I think that is something that is going to be a little bit difficult because basically the problem is that we are talking about two different projects. Okay, and something that is static in one project is dynamic, completely dynamic in the other one. Okay, so I think that just to launch integration test from the continuous integration system that is running in Rook is not going to be possible. Basically because, if we are not able to run tautology test in automatic way directly from the Ceph project, I think that is going to be very difficult to do the same because we have done a modification in the Rook operator code. So this is the first thing, that in the Rook project, I think that everything is automated using in this moment GitHub Actions, and in the Ceph project we are in this moment I think that too far away from that point. Okay, so this is one of.
I'm wondering if it makes sense to. It's like we'll need tests in both places, but I wonder if we'll end up with kind of more basic tests in one of the projects, and then the more complete set of tests in the other one, right?
I think that's probably what's going to happen.
I mean, is Rook the right place for that, or is Ceph? I don't know yet, but one of them.
I suspect that I suspect that probably the more complicated tests are going to end up on the left side for the manager work module itself, the Orchestrator commands.
Since it's the one that's changing the most.
Yeah. That's okay, as long as there's something basic on the work side. Someday, hopefully, it'll be possible to easily launch a tautology job and let it whatever, but that's a ways off.
Yeah, especially if we are in Rook, we are not developing the Rook Orchestrator module, right?
No.
So the really detailed testing needs to be done in Ceph anyway. Okay. I mean, it does make sense, right?
Yeah, agreed. Wherever more changes are happening for that component, it makes sense to have the test. So Ceph is probably the right place.
Okay. If there aren't any other questions, I guess we can move to the second point. That was a question that came up last week. So when Ceph ADM is restarting OSDs, we are not setting any flags here. We are not setting no out or anything. We are just restarting the OSDs. Also, when migrating OSDs to a new version. Right. Is that the right approach, or should we set and unset no out for specific OSDs when upgrading?
I think it's fine. That's what the Ceph ADM upgrade does. It doesn't do no out at all.
It doesn't do anything.
Restarts. Yeah, the assumption is that the OSDs will restart before they get marked out.
Yep.
I think it's okay.
I think Rook does set no out before restarting OSDs, right, Travis? Or Blaine?
No, we don't. Actually, we set no out when we see a node is in maintenance mode. So we try and, I think we give it a little bit longer until we unset no out in that case, but not during upgrades.
That's a good point. I think we're also not setting no out in the maintenance mode in Ceph ADM.
Yes, yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, we didn't want to set no out permanently or forget to unset it. So I think we give it a timeout of like a half hour before we unset it.
No, actually, we do set no out in the maintenance mode. Okay, perfect. So that works. Okay. The next thing that did pop up was we are storing private keys in the YAML spec file for RGW SSL, for example. Do we need to improve things? I mean, we don't have a proper secret store like Kubernetes in the Mon store.
Or, sorry, improve.
If people are
yeah.
If people are starting to use GitOps for storing the YAML files in Git, for example, then they end up with private keys of SSL in their Git. And so, do we need to improve things?
That'd probably be good. I don't know how many people are going to be using GitOps for this, but still, yeah. Seems like a nice to have. Not a top priority.
I also think that we are good as we are. I mean, at some point you have to put the private keys and secrets onto the host, and at that point they're there anyway, and the connection to the mon should be secured. So,
yeah.
What about the monitor database? Is it encrypted by default in Ceph ADM? Do you know that, Sage?
I mean, it's just rocksdb, so if you went and you looked in the raw files, you could probably pull it out. So no, yeah, nothing's encrypted. It's not encrypted at rest. That's what you're asking.
Would that be something worth looking into? I don't know.
App. It might be. Yeah, I can put it on the Trello board.
Is it in Trello?
It's not. I'll add it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, made a card.
I mean, we will never be able to achieve the same kind of security as Kubernetes does with that secret store. And
I mean,
I also,
yeah.
And I think we also don't need to.
I mean, it's not clear if the monitor encrypted things, like where would it store the keys? Because it is it's the root of the trust hierarchy or whatever. So, I mean, it could store the key in one file and then encrypt the data sitting right next to it, but it doesn't really. So,
yeah, I don't know. Okay, the next topic that did pop up last week was that Ceph Ansible, when doing the migration, is still continuing to create realms and zones. And it's still necessary for multi-zone.
What's doing that?
No.
The playbook that's doing that, or
the playbook is creating realm, zone, and zone groups. But no, shouldn't do that, right?
If it's an adoption, those already exist, right?
Exactly. If it's an adoption, then we shouldn't do anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. We a while ago we talked about introducing.
Sorry.
Oh, again, please. Yes?
Talking with the dog. Never mind.
Okay. A while ago we've talked about introducing some kind of a YAML document to create those realms and zones in the orchestrator. We have said those YAML documents also already in Rook.
Sorry, which one's in Rook?
If you can create custom resources for creating realms, zone groups that are applied once, I guess, as far as I know.
Right. Yeah, those CRs are created and applied once.
We need that in Ceph ADM as well.
Yep, there's already a ticket for it, but
yep.
I don't think it's related to adoption.
No, it's not related to the adoption, but it's related to the overall topic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and those CRs are fairly simple today. There's not a lot to them. I mean, besides the main object store CR. But yeah, they're there.
And if we are implementing that, we really should make sure that we are creating something super compatible.
Yeah, the idea would be that whatever the orchestrator spec is would just pass through and create the Rook CR.
Yep, exactly. Okay. Local storage operator is the next topic.
Yeah. So we've got the doc. I think I mentioned it last week, and this is really a high-level requirements doc, kind of the big picture. What do we want? On Friday, we did talk about it with the LSO team in the weekly meeting with them, and I think the outcome of that meeting is that okay, let's kind of get to the next level of requirements. Well, what are we really talking about as far as do we need raw volumes? Do we need partitions? Do we need LVs? Dynamic provisioning? I think we do need all of that. Maybe not partitions as much.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
For example,
I think LVs would be fine.
Right. I think where my head is right now is okay. If we do static provisioning for whatever you want to set up in advance, maybe even raw disks, we'll just use static provisioning, and then dynamic provisioning can just use LVs, and just like or like Topo LVM does it. I still haven't dug into Topo LVM a lot, but and then we can hold off or not even worry about partitions today they can already statically provision them in advance, just like they can do disks. So that's not a big deal in my mind.
I'm not sure if there's any value in having the static provisioning. Like, why not just make everything dynamic? If the PV says I want a raw disk, then you give them a raw disk. If the PV says I want a 10 gig LV, then you give it an LV. Like,
that's true. Oh, and I think the difference there just needs to be a different storage class. So if you want to, you could have a storage class that says give me a raw device, or you could have another one that says it's okay to have a partial one. And if it's the size of the whole disk, maybe it just gives back the whole disk too.
Yeah.
Potentially separate storage classes.
It seems like it has to be. Yeah, it's not quite the same because with an LV you can resize. Like you could start with a big thing and then resize down or up or whatever, or and create a snapshot where it's a raw disk. You can't do that. But does it have to be a separate storage class? Is there a way to have something on the PVC that indicates what
you want?
What you want.
I think the storage class is where we'd have to put those properties.
Yeah,
the PVCs don't really have properties on them.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, and yeah, that's the thing. If you're using LVs, well, then we get snapshots, or a possibility at least. What else was it? Yeah, and the request was, well, is this really LSO, or with dynamic provisioning, probably we need a separate thing, or a new thing that's not LSO. But before we decide on that, it's like, well, let's think about a high-level API. What does this really look like? And then figure out what kind of operator it is and where it might live. It's still kind of early for that.
One thought about that, okay? I have read the document, okay? I think that, well, we have a first good description of what we need, okay? But probably we are thinking in more things that only Ceph, okay? And I'm a little bit worried about that, okay? Because I think that in our case, I think that the problem that we are trying to solve is that to provide to the final user that is going to install storage in a bare metal cluster. So he has a good knowledge about the resources, the physical resources, and what he wants to have is a high performance system, okay? Because he's using a bare metal system probably because he wants this kind of performance. So maybe, I don't know, but probably it would be nice to limit the functionality of the operator to just the things that we need in order to run a Ceph cluster and to create OSDs and to have inventory for OSDs and to be completely oriented in this direction and not to try to create something more generic that could be provide this kind of resources, PVs, okay, to other applications. Because, well, maybe this is going to simplify the design and the things that we need to that it could be good to have. It's my view.
All right. Well, and the reason we've really put applications outside of Ceph in there is that for OCS to provide end-to-end storage solutions, we really want to say, what do applications need who don't want Ceph? Well, they want a local volume that's that has all these properties of, well, not running Ceph, just a local volume. And if we're really just focusing on Ceph's needs, I think then we lose out on those application needs, and we won't have a full end-to-end solution for applications like Cassandra who don't need the Ceph reliability. They've got their own built-in. That's why applications are in the doc and requirements.
I think a key thing in here, I can't remember if this is in here, but we need to make it so that you can have a PVC that is requesting a specific device. And if the PVs are pre-created, like you can do that, you can have a PVC that just names the PV that it wants. But if it's dynamic, like we need to have some way that we can have a PVC that says, I want. I thought PVCs had a way to like put extra stuff in there that's like passed through the provisioner. But maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, not that I know of. It's really just request it from the storage class, and the storage class has all the properties, unless you identify the specific volume
Like,
ID.
I see there's this selector. Like, can the selector stuff?
On the PVC.
Oh, so you can have labels. Okay, so only the volume 2's labels mesh, but those are that's only if it matches the PVs.
Yeah.
Class. There's this.
All right, so I've got the rook huddle now. So I can't stay long,
Okay.
but yeah, it needs more discussion, and we'll follow up on the doc.
Yeah. Fine. Okay.
So. Okay.
All right.
I'll take it offline.
All right.
And sorry, I'll drop. Thanks. Bye.
Bye, Travis. Okay. Without Travis, that's can't really continue here, unfortunately. Okay. Yeah, I guess that's it for today if we don't have any other topics. Okay, then.
Yep. All right, Sebastian, can I borrow you for a couple minutes? I have some questions about the unit, whatever, the talks tests.
Yes. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, then let's sync up next week. Bye.
All right. See you, everyone.
Bye. Bye.
Recording maybe. So super confused because suddenly my talks tests are failing and they're complaining about like the manager module.py function is missing a type annotation. That code was merged in January. But it also only activates if the Python version is greater than or equal to 3.8. And I looked and my machine just CentOS 8 has Python 3.6.8. But it's been that way for forever. I just checked on like a random $2 machine and it's also Python 3.6.8. So I don't know why suddenly when I run talks I'm seeing errors locally, but it was like a week ago or 2 weeks ago that was not the case. I've been doing this stuff.
Talks.e my on the master branch or on your local?
Yeah, this is on my dev machine. If I do ctest run talks manager, that's failing. If I go into
it works for me.
talks-e I v the errors, I'm kidding.
Works for me.
What version of Python do you have on your machine?
3.9.6.
What is it?
3.9.6. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I guess I could install Python 3.8.
No, that doesn't really make sense. Can you paste your output into a paste bin or so?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just confused.
Succeeds for me.
But you're not on CentOS 8. It's like
I'm not. Yeah, that should not depend on the Python version.
Like if I look at this error, this manager Pi error, and I go look at that code.
Line, what is it? Line 32?
Basically, it imports it from typing if it's 3.8 or later, otherwise it defines it itself. So I think that's why you're not seeing the error. But I'm just, if I look at the code or the commit that merged that code.
Yeah.
It was merged like January, I think.
There is a reason. There is a reason. I'm at fault. It's this one here.
Oh, this is what you just merged. I see. Okay, that's all your fault. Okay.
So what?
So maybe if you want to, if you have a CentOS 8 machine, you can make these pass. Probably just need to add annotations, but I don't know what they're supposed to be for this getArgs function.
MyPy has a way to explicitly set the Python version. Let's see if I can replicate it.
I mean, we don't want to do that though.
Why not?
Because I only have I have a specific version installed, and the test needs to pass on different versions, right? I think we need to just I think we just need to add annotations to this getArgs thing.
Yeah. MyPy .8. Still works.
I mean, should I just
You can just
add any
colon ignore, type in colon ignore also, and that works for you. I would like to actually reproduce it.
I think you need an old version of Python to do that, right?
Yeah, I've installed it and I've used that old version of Python. And I've made Python getting called with dash Python dash version 3.8. But it still is not going to replicate the error.
Right. Well, that's the first thing. And then the second thing is that I have a million errors on the Ceph ADM thing itself also. All this like threaded child watcher. And then there's also a permission denied error. Has no op.
Well, that also in the
I don't know if these are related
error?
to.
No.
Also are.
I can quickly make a pull request that should fix my errors.
I have one. I just fixed the first one, the manager module one, but the other one I think is, yeah, it's just a type ignore. Okay. Well, anyway, that's the first thing. Maybe you can just check out a DOS 8 machine in Toothology and then run MyPy on there and just make sure it passes. Currently the CI is running it on Ubuntu and not on but the second thing is trying to fix a mock test for run Ceph ADM so that it returns different output. It mocks different output based on the command. And I'm confused about how to do that. I'm wondering if you can. Documentation is like not helpful.
do you have a code?
Yep.
Do you have some code?
I can share my screen here.
Yeah.
So, all right. You see this?
Oh, it's deactivate, yes.
So this is the mock right here. It's getting passed in as run Ceph ADM, and right now it's mocked to return this every time. But OS deactivate now runs two different commands. One of them is LVM list and one of them is raw list. And for raw list, the output looks different. It's going to be this. Remember, it's a U and whatever. It looks.
Okay, what you would do is it's super trivial. It's super trivial.
Here,
so instead of
like I want to make a function like this, right? That returns the two things based on whether the command is the raw command or the LVM command. And so
you have
normally
it already.
you would do something like you would do this or whatever, you do the function name, but there's something weird going on here because here it mocks that it wants no output for it to do all this stuff. And then down here, it changes the return value and it resets it. But I don't know how to, what I need is like run Ceph ADM dot thing equals my function. volume.
Yeah, that's called site underscore effect. So if you replace something with site underscore effect equals, and then your function, just a function, not the function with arguments, just a function name.
Okay, in this case, it's just this then. I don't want this thing. I should put this in here.
And then you have to call reset mock before setting side effect. And you have to add return underscore value equals true for reset mock. Exactly. So you have to call an side effect. It reset mock resets the mock to a vanilla mock without any return value, without any side value. It's just an empty mock.
And then this changes it again to be something else.
Yeah, but you have to call it, the volume LVM list, exactly. And the side effect is then called with whatever it should have been called. So with the argument, so that should work. Yeah, I really try to avoid this kind of stuff where we have one mock that needs to differentiate between different calls.
No, but it's just.
But yeah, try it.
Yeah, it's not working.
Not working?
I can do.
Can try, or I'll just do an asset false. I don't know.
Captured the call. And show me captured standard out.
I've installed Python 3.8 on my machine now.
Yeah, you need something older than 3.8 in order to use that code.
No, right. It's greater equals 3.8, right? So I have to. Uh, 3.7.
Not sure this is working.
That's the problem with mock. So do you see that? Do you see the logging.info with a CMD?
Nope. I'm not seeing this ASDF either. This line here.
You're seeing, not
Oh,
seeing
you know what?
the.
I'm looking at the wrong test output, I think, because it's doing. Which one?
Oh,
data device.
Fun.
Because there are like 4 tests that are failing.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So it's inserting here. One positional required argument E. What does run Ceph idiom look like? Yeah, I'm not a big fan of mock. Tests are so annoying.
Yeah, I know. But it's fast.
Yeah, and you can do everything with it, so I guess that's good.
It's so super fast. And you can do things that are not possible without mock.
I actually need to do JSON dumps.
Okay, now you have it. Perfect.
Better. Okay. And yeah, for that, for your test, I think you need Python 3.6.8. That's the version.
I have reproduced it with Python 3.8.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's it. I don't have anything else.
Okay. Right. Thanks for your help.
No worries. Glad to help.